don't know what those things are, it's purely hypothesis. Don't quote
Sure.
me on it. I'm looking at you. But yeah, so you have like that cool, and then he was able to create these monsters, which are either A, mutations of Basilisk soldiers, like, and then just replicated, right? Because if you can create one, like an egg or something like that, then whatever. Maybe like the host is a Basilisk soldier that was created to create other soldiers. Right?
Interesting theory, yeah.
It's one of those things that you have a lot of options when you start thinking that the monsters could be Basilisk soldiers, right? Just overall, or
Some
control.
sort of, yeah. Well, it's I love fan theories. There's always cool stuff coming out, Do you want to do? I want to do the drawing here, but I think we only have one person who entered, and I don't know that they intentionally entered or if they're just talking about us.
Okay. Well, you guys that are watching live, you heard that. Go enter.
Yeah.
And we are getting into the match right now, which means we got to catch up on these bands, because I am actually a little behind because I wasn't paying attention to the side chat. Let's get this started, shall we? Boop, boop. Yeah, let's go. What do we have for bands? Can you read them back to me?
Sure. Hold on, I was just typing something out there. We have. I'm opening up our chat now. The Steam chat I never got back into actually, so I cannot tell you.
I'll have to get you back in that then. So we have a Val Band, a Kyra pick, Sunny Band, Hank pick, Jack Band, Griffin pick, and Torvald Band, Hyde pick, and Wraith was picked up, and I don't see the Monster Band. I'm assuming Kraken? Yeah, there it is, way up there. Okay. So that's the bands right now that we have for this match. We're going through. It's going to be a Hyde, Griffin, Hank, Kyra versus a Wraith on Wraith Trap again as well. So we'll have to see what they do on this map. We've seen it happen a few times. They've gone through. They've done it. And we've had differing results. We've had Wraiths getting killed on this map. We've had Monsters winning on this map. We've had all the craziness happen on both Orbital Drill and Wraith Trap going forward. So who knows? What do you think is going to be happening? You've looked at Varicor. You've seen what he does.
Sure. I know for a fact that Wardoom plays a phenomenal Griffin, and Wraith can be a little tricky to hit, but I think if Wardoom is on point, they could really spell trouble for Varicor as far as Varicor's ability to stay away from them. You have Kyra speeding him up, and he'll be able to get those poons in. I do think the Griffin pick, like I said, if his aim is as good as it usually is going to make a big difference here.
And is that from personal experience, or...?
Yeah, I've played against him. I've seen his Griffin. It's. I think it has a lot of potential. I mean, you look at those games back there. He was often right behind him as Jack. He just couldn't get the correct angle on the repulsor. In this particular case, he doesn't need an angle. He just needs a good straight shot.
Yeah. And it's definitely something that, Wardoom's definitely experienced enough with, especially a lot of those first 3 tiers of units of hunters, because of what he did with EPEX and the amount of teams he had to teach and train as being one of the founding members of the EPEX family's Evolve teams. So that's something that to keep in mind as well, that he is there was a point in time when Griffin was the only thing you would ever see on Trappers. You didn't see Maggies, you didn't see Aves, and that was before Crow was even a thought of concept.
Yeah, Griffin is that OG status pro team Trapper.
Yeah. So, I think it was Go for Evolve 1 through 8, or it was 1 through 6, that all you saw was Griffins, was just because everyone was playing Goliaths back then. You saw a few Krakens, one of them being Aurora Symphony, and there you go, we got History of Evolve with Seeds right now. But it's just interesting to see how that's been adapting and changing, and right now we're seeing a very, OG composition. However, you didn't see Hyde much back then. I think that's the only real difference. We have Hank, Kyra, and Griffin.
Yeah. Hyde back then was, his stank grenades, as I like to call them, had a slowing effect. They'd slow your team down.
Yeah. So we're going forward. Here comes the Warpless, though. We have a stage 1. Looks like he's engaging on Bugsy, trying to get a pick off there. Let's take a quick look at the skill build. We have a 2 Warblast, 1 Abduct. Again, looking standard. We have mobility being chosen by his movement speed being chosen by Varicor and Roy. Again, standard. We have reload speed and capacity being chosen by, Kyra and Hank, Bugsy and Fave. Again, standard, nothing really interesting there, but Wardoom is actually doing an interesting choice, which I think is worth note, is that he's choosing Jetpack Recharge.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you get kind of you get the speed boost that you would get if you were running move speed, but you can boost up and get those good angles to get those harpoons in, which, I mean, they don't apply till you hit the ground, but it lets you get those shots.
Yeah. And it's something just to note that it is interesting of choosing a jetpack recharge, which is just because this is Wraith Trap, as opposed to like another perk choice, which would be like reload speed, which would allow me to get more of those harpoons on the chase. He wants to be in position during fights, as opposed to being on the pursuit and getting more of those like instantaneous, like, oh, reload harpoon, reload harpoon, reload harpoon.
This has been a really interesting engage where, they've just kind of been hitting and running, engaging, backing off, and then the dome finally comes down now. It was just kind of like they're feeling each other out a bit.
Yeah, it just seems like they're just kind of testing the water, seeing what they can get, finally getting through the armor. As right now we're going through and just trying to get things done here.
Yeah, it looks like they're I think he's trying to juke a little bit.
And we have right now everything going completely nuts right now as we're just trying to survive this crazy dome right now.
Yeah, and they're getting the harpoons in. They are getting the harpoons in. Looks like he banked on the dome ending there and tried to warp blast through it, or maybe he was just trying to hide away. Tough to tell. One thing that I like to do when I'm in a dome and I'm getting shot at is I try and stay near the wall because it mitigates any sort of, explosive shots, which in this case, shouldn't be too bad. It would be like Kyra, but...
Yeah, and it's interesting to see exactly what they're able to do going forward. They have a lot of options on this map. They have the accelerate, they have the orbitals. They're doing everything they can to try and bring everything up. They are dealing a good amount of damage. They have the sound spike over in that one zone, which means they're going to be able to reveal exactly what happens. No stealth shenanigans, nothing going on in that corner. But he's
I gotta say, them increasing the radius on those spikes really compensated for taking 2 away. I actually prefer 3 large instead of the having a bunch of smaller ones. And it looks like he's going to try and get a little snack in this cave here and go ahead and evolve. He has a little post-evolve snack there. It's a trick I like to do. You kill something, let it sit there, and after you evolve, you got your snack. It's tough work evolving. And he's protected here from any kind of orbitals coming down from Hank. But they do know where he is, and I think they're going to be hesitant to dome him in here. I think they're probably trying to get him off to the side a bit. He picks up Roy, pulling him back into the cave. The shield comes down. Stealth pounce. Someone's got to shoot him off. Shield stops. Looks like he was going to try and get him. Looks like Hank's jumping down, catching a couple of napalm grenades, but he's trying to corner Fave here, trying to beat him down with the supernova.
Yep. And he's just doing a ton of damage, just trying to mitigate and survive after evolving. He is actually through all his armor, which means that it's going to come down to Roy and his damage dealing right now. They're looking for some kind of health damage as they're trying to melt through everything. He does have the case to protect himself. As we did know, he did have 2 Supernova, 3 Warp Blast, 1 Abduct, which is a good amount of damage coming out as he goes right after the support and the medic. Roy right now just forcing him out of the caves, trying to get some damage in. His Fave's on the high ground just dealing damage. We're looking at, Varicor on the low ground just trying to get something, but he's not able to get anything from this Hunter team. Comes in, Warp Blast hits Roy right in the face, knocking him around in those caves. He's down to about half, getting healed through the walls by Kyra. Bugsy's right on point with not only flame grenades as we saw there, but also with the heal grenades, just trying to get anything possible in regards to damage. They are at halfway through Varicor right now. Quick Warp Blast going through, does connect on Wardoom. Wardoom's getting low, and all this damage is coming out of Supernova. Warp, everything's being done to try and get it. Here comes a Harpoon into an Orbital. Oh, the Harpoon from Wardoom and Fave. That coordination was next level. Fave's getting low, though, even though he did that such a gorgeous Orbital coming right through. Does finally get the down on support, which means that down he goes.
And we're looking at about, what, five bars for 1 strike there in that situation?
Yeah, and it's just exceptional to see the amount of damage that he's able to pump out with that. So,
and you saw the coordination there on those harpoons. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, I'm doing an orbital. All right, I'm harpooning him. That's all it was. And it simply just puts it and makes it so much more effective because he has to break the harpoon, then traversal out, as opposed to what we saw there, which is just an instant reaction from any monster. As soon as they hear the orbital, that little dung 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 in the sky, it's, oh no, I gotta move.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't matter where it is, I'm moving.
Yep, anywhere is better than here.
You don't even know where the orbital is. You're like, okay, I have a feeling it's right below my feet.
Yep. One time I climbed an orbital that I found a weird glitch and I was able to climb an orbital as a Wraith.
Yep. And that's actually really cool.
Yeah. Let's try and. I think I have it recorded. People in my chat have saw it. They were like, "What the heck's going on here?"
It's like, let me just traversal.
Yep.
Oh man.
So it looks like he's going to try and lay low a bit, try and snack up and go stage 3. If I were him, I wouldn't want to be rumbling at stage 2 with that little health. You know, their team has the potential to melt that armor off fairly quickly.
Yeah, and they are doing everything they can to melt right through it. They have done a great job of it so far, melting through armor, getting him down so low. He only has a bar right now of health, so he is at full armor, so he's just, anything he eats at this point is purely for armor meter. I mean, not armor meter, sorry, evolve meter. So, we'll have to see what happens here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It looks like they're just kind of playing that game where it's, just dancing around the pillars. They know he's there.
As we look at their positioning, we're seeing that Fave right now is sitting in the back, with Wardoom in a great spot in order to ensure that they get this dome. Learning from what we saw earlier from Puggums, Wardoom showing exactly what he needs to do in that rear position and being ready to get it what he can. We see the abduct being used on Roy, as Roy right now is in hot pursuit of Varicor, just trying to pick up as much as he can. Varicor, however, trying to stealth his way around and break through, getting a quick smell on Wardoom so we can see where he is. Does decide to turn around on Roy because he knows the team is around the corner, but where does he go from here?
He's kind of in a tough position. You know, he's cornered. They're going to just keep wearing that armor down and hold the dome until they really got to throw it. Unless he pulls some really slick decoy maneuvers, I'm not seeing him getting out of here.
And here he goes. Does decide to go on Wardoom, which means that Wardoom is going to need to be kept alive by his teammates, which he surely is, as Spave comes out with them. Beautiful shields revealing his location, though, which means that he's going to get some loving from Varicor, as Varicor right now has already burned through all of his armor. He's down to just 3 bars and 1 bar of health. And he's just going to be trying to mitigate and try and get a strike. He needs to get out of here, which means he needs not only Fave down, but he needs to get Wardoom down. That's going to be really hard pressed in this fight as he's going for it, trying to get everything he can. Toxic being used. He's down to a little bit, trying to bait him into the Tyrant, maybe get a little bit of help. Knocks Wardoom back into the Tyrant, goes straight on Fave, though. He got a double there, and here comes some Fave getting rocked in the face, getting Tyrant to assist him with Wardoom. Wardoom's on the run, which means he might be released in just a moment because Fave is busy going right through. They did finally get through the armor. Here comes the War Blast, connects on Fave. Fave's getting low, and right now we have him very low. There goes Fave, down to 1 bar. Mammothbird coming in to help him out. Going to be going in for the shock. Wardoom is, however, exceptionally low. Needs to be surviving as Varicor is trying to go in for the finish. Here comes the War Blast. Doesn't quite connect, and the dome is released, which means Varicor is going to be on the run. Harpoon's in the rear, keeping him in the fight, despite the fact that he doesn't want to. Master Chief is going to be on this Hunter team trying to help them finish this fight.
Napalm nades taking some chunks out.
And to see all this damage being thrown at him, though, including Kyra's napalm grenades.
Yeah, when you got, a half bar of health, that 45 direct damage and that little bit of residual burn, that matters.
Oh, yeah, every little bit is going to matter here. However, we do not have a Crow in this game, which means if he gets armor, he's still in this.
Absolutely. He could go stage 3, get full armor, and, we're sitting on 2 strikes on support. He still could turn this around potentially.
So we'll have to see what he does to try and combat this. He does have movement speed as his perk choice, so he's going to be able to move around the map and possibly get that space that he needs. Even the Dune Beetles coming in, and they're trying to get their charity cases done, and they're coming in and just giving him a Mammoth Beard. Here, have this. I made this for you. You need this right now. Take whatever you can get. No, Nomad saying, nope, no more charity. We're done.
They saw what the Mammoth Birds did last game, so I'd kill everyone I saw.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a kill the Mammoth Bird situation, especially after that. We're looking at Wardoom, however. Dome is now down, which means Monster gets to escape it, which means he gets to live for another day.
And I think this right here is what's going to make this an interesting match, because he's going to get away, he's going to go stage 3, and we might see a pretty good matchup. Because, like I said, having 2 strikes on your Hank is a huge deal.
Yep. And that's a 2-strike Hank, and once he gets stage 3, not to take the shot at Wardoom anymore, but he's not as critical.
Yeah, I mean, he'll cover a lot of distance, and that harpoon at that point is a minor hindrance.
And here we go. We got Roy coming in with that minigun, which means he's going to deal a large amount of damage. He's going to be going in for it, trying to get his 3-point decoy, which is just because he's low. That was the decision that was made. Because he's low on health and armor, he wants to be able to decoy and survive. We're looking at this, and Roy was able to get through a good amount of armor with that bonus